Okay, I'm Beck Lane, and this is Catalysting Company, where we're catalysting each other's lives as well as our own, and we work at being the artists we've always wanted to be. So 3 weeks ago, I won the first of 2 awards in a very short period of time. The first was the Halo Arts Project Award, or Fellowship, and it gave me such a solid feeling of validation. And then along came a second award, one you can't apply for, one that isn't advertised. There is no open call. It is just given. And that is the Johnson Singer Foundation Award, Fellowship Award. The Johnson Singer Foundation, I found out, normally, they've been around for 17 years. And in those 17 years, they've given out millions of dollars to organizations, for the most part, conservation groups, art education groups, art organizations. We have something here called Selby Gardens, and they've given quite a bit of money there. But it's usually to whole groups of people who are working together for a common cause. They're usually involved in some sort of social activism, or bettering the community around them, or bettering the lives of people, or the environment. So one thing that I've found a little overwhelming to begin to comprehend, let alone mention, is I, Beck Lane, am the first independent artist they've ever given an award to. They have given out millions of dollars to dozens and dozens of organizations, but they've never awarded a single individual before. And I'll tell you how the 2 awards happened. The Halo was something that I did apply to. I'm sorry, my mind is blown by what's happened lately, by just being recognized, being seen. I've changed a lot over the past few weeks. Anyway, I did submit to the Halo Award, and when I was filling out my application, I go, yeah, I don't really care because I never win awards anyway. I literally wrote almost that word for word in my application, because I figure it's not going to matter. Nobody sees me. Nobody cares about my artwork. Nobody, who's handing out awards or fellowship ever goes, pa-ping, you're the one. As you've heard me say, God knows how many times over the past now 11 years. And then they did. And it was such a feeling of validation. It's been disorienting in a way. That wasn't nearly as disorienting as what happened 3 weeks later with Johnson Singer, where I was completely thrown because it was an unexpected, unknown to me award. And then the gravity of the situation. And the platform that I now have to work from. It doesn't scare me. It's not daunting. It's not something I can't handle, because this is what we've been preparing for. the feeling is indescribable. To go from being the underdog and frustrated and angry and banging my head against the wall to now all of a sudden being able to do things, go buy paint that I need to paint. Or like today, um, God, today I had dozens of images printed out, and I bought presentation books. I've got some okay ones I bought off Amazon because I'm always afraid to spend any money. But then I got some better ones at FedEx where I get the printing done. And I didn't have to think about it. It's indescribable to be in that position when you're used to counting pennies or keeping your fingers crossed that one of your friends here, hello, Carrie, or Eric, or Val, or any one of a dozen other people, they send you, they contribute something to your efforts. It's inconceivable for me to be able to turn around and help someone else, which I've done now a few times. I've been able to help other people because I was helped. But the feeling of confidence, we know that I've been struggling, and we've been sharing this story for 11 years. And I can't say I'm out of the woods, but my rent is paid. And for an artist to have that weight lifted off their shoulders, I'm telling you, you can breathe. We've been in this situation a million times where my rent has been late, or I've needed a tube of paint, or I've needed Neo McGilp and I haven't been able to get it. And right now, none of that is a concern. My phone was paid. My phone bill is paid. I've had my phone bill, my phone, not shut off, but almost shut off. Or actually, I wasn't able to use it for a number of weeks, 2 or 3 months in a row. Not being able to buy food, having to eat out of the food pantry. I mean, that's where we've been. And I've been out to eat, out to get lunch 4 times in the past 3 weeks. And it's so, that's such a luxury. I get in tears over it, being able to buy a sandwich. I'm so grateful to these organizations for making me feel like a valuable and seen person, an artist. And okay, so anyway, what I would like to suggest to you is, they talk about Facebook being useless and nobody uses it anymore. I am telling you, both of these, both people from both boards, multiple people on both boards, have been watching my Facebook account. They've been watching, I think they've seen a couple of YouTube videos, but not many. But they've been watching my Facebook posts and Instagram as well. But it has mainly been Facebook that has been the influence for the board, for multiple board members on both, in both organizations. They've watched me paint, continue to struggle, just post the progression of the paintings, but also post about some of the other things that I do around town. I don't talk about it a lot, but I do volunteer. I don't like to, but I don't like to talk about it, except with friends. But I do volunteer at my local food pantry, the one that I had to eat out of. I've had to eat out of off and on for 2 years. There was a time about 1.5 years ago when we went through the mural thing together, and my soul was crushed because I had been offered a solo museum exhibit in Newport, Rhode Island, and I talked with the organizers umpteen times a week for 4 months, and got a lot of promises about the paperwork and the contract and, a check coming, and none of it ever happened. That broke my heart. I did a ton of work. You guys watched me. I did a ton of work for the solo museum exhibit that never happened. Which, by the way, I do have a painting now on view at one of the mansions in Newport, and I was never notified about it by the same people. P.S. And then I was asked to do another project here in town, which was going to be 4 to 5 murals about Overtown, the black and brown community that was pushed out in the 50s. It was a self-sustaining community, black and brown community, African and African American community that was pushed out by developers, white developers here in Sarasota. So I was asked to do murals about that. Well, we had the museum exhibit, and then the mural thing fell apart. It was yanked out from underneath me because they found somebody who could do it for cheap. I mean, dirt cheap. And without consulting me, without going over the contract that I had given them, without anything, any notice, they yanked it out from underneath me. And that's been a big bone of contention. But that whole thing, during all of that, some of you were helping me buy supplies so I could keep making things, keep painting, keep producing. And I wasn't spending anything on food. I would go to the food pantry, the one I now volunteer at, and get food. And I got sicker and sicker and sicker because I had ended up losing 2 pints of blood. I don't know how. Believe me, I'm not bleeding out my eyeballs or anywhere else. I lost 2 pints of blood. My iron levels dropped. My anemia was out of control. My stomach lining started deteriorating. All of that is still an issue, but I'm much better than I was. But I landed in the hospital, and when I got out, I was like, why am I still alive? This doesn't make any sense. But one day I was standing in line at the food pantry, and I was just in shock over the two events, non-events, events, working myself to death for 5-6 months for 2 different groups of people who just went, we don't care. And then I really did almost die. My organs started shutting down. I had to be basically brought back to life. So I'm standing in line at the food pantry shortly after getting out of the hospital. Couldn't breathe. I was exhausted. I'm standing in line, and I just started crying. And this woman, Ellie, who's a volunteer there, came up and she's like, what's the matter, Beck? And I told her. She's like, it's going to get better. And I go, I don't know, Ellie. I don't think it is. I don't think it's ever going to get any better. I wish I could just stop. Just stop. And I'm standing there and I'm crying and I'm just sick of it, sick of everything. And then I said to Ellie, do you take volunteers? Because I think I need to be out of my house and out of my head and helping other people. So I started volunteering at the food pantry. So that's one of the things that I do around town that I don't talk about often at all, because who cares? I love it. But then there's other things that I do too. I'm a big mouth at the school board meetings that we have here in Sarasota, where we're fighting against white supremacy and that idiotic Moms for Liberty and all the suppression they've brought on. We're fighting anti-wokeism, which makes no sense to me, because anti-wokeism is, anti-wokeism is just another name for racism and bigotry. So I'm working with a number of LGBTQ groups here in town. One is called Also Youth, So they take teenagers, LGBTQ teenagers in that spectrum, and then they have a junior, also youth junior, for kids between 10 and 12 who want to come in, and then they have time that is specifically for them. That's one safe space. I work with Pride, Sarasota. I've donated work to Equality Florida here in Sarasota and in Tampa to be auctioned off. Donated work to Also Youth. Donated, oh, sorry, and now I'm doing work with an organization called C Alliance. And C Alliance is SEE Alliance. And if you know anything about politics in Sarasota or have been paying attention to any of the school board meetings or news about the school board meetings, that was formed because Bridget Ziegler, one of the Moms for Liberty founders, is on the school board, and she's done things that are just incomprehensibly unconscionable. She's had one book pulled from the shelves, kind of a middle of the night when nobody was looking kind of thing. But she has tried to get away with book banning, all on her own, with Ron DeSantis. But she pulled her kids out of public school. She's got them in a private school that her grandmother or mother-in-law runs. I can't remember which. In a private Christian school. So the county is now funneling money to her family, that we're paying the Zieglers $8,000 per child to go to a private school that is then funded as well by the county. But there's just so many things that this woman has done, and she's constantly lying and gaslighting. So C Alliance is there, and I know this is running really long again, but C Alliance is there. Bridget started a fight with a kid named Xander Moritz. Xander Moritz is famous for didn't come out as gay at his high school graduation. Everybody in high school, apparently, all of his friends knew, everybody knew. Nobody cared. Except Don't Say Gay here in Florida went into effect. Ron DeSantis's Don't Say Gay bill went into effect. And Xander was told by his high school principal, you can't mention being gay as valedictorian in your graduation speech. So he altered it to use his curly hair as an analogy for being gay. And everybody knew. But he was told if he mentioned being gay, they would turn off his mic and he would be out of there. So he used his curly hair instead. And the kids in the audience were laughing. I happened to catch that video because it hit national and international news, and I must have watched it 100 times. Never thinking I'd get to meet this young man or any of his classmates. And now Xander, his friend Anya, they run this youth-run organization called C Alliance, and I'm kind of their official artist now. I've done one chalkboard mural that was used as background in Nightline. And next, I've just redone the chalkboard mural. It's 8 feet high by 10 feet wide in preparation for Vanity Fair, who's coming in Monday. They were here today. They were at the Alliance today, but they're going to be filming on Monday, Tuesday, mainly. And once again, my chalkboard mural will be used. One of them. I also do hand-printed signs for them, so if you see news about Sarasota and rallies out front, you'll see people holding up signs, and there's like cartoonish writing, but it's fairly clear with illustrations on it. That's me. It's really cool when I, pull up, somebody sends me a picture and here's the crowd and they're all, a lot of people are holding up my signs. It's a really terrific feeling. So I post about that on Facebook. I post about it on Instagram. Not a lot, but I am proud to be working with or being of service to Sea Alliance, to the kids that run this organization, to the kids that are, participating and forming how they want to be present themselves. And I'm so incredibly proud to be of service to Xander and Anya and all these wonderful people. So I post a little bit about it, and these two organizations, Halo and Johnson Singer, saw it, and they see it as social activism. And there's a few other things that I do around town. But they know people who know me, and now these two organizations are like, you're the exact person we're looking for. Producing artwork all the time. Producing, having intent in the artwork, which has been a big topic of conversation for 11 years. Having intent behind the work, doing your own work, not copying other people, not being a copycat, not painting, I'm looking at Frida Kahlo, not painting Frida Kahlo as a cartoon or as a trope, but actually seeing the human being. I mean, all this stuff that I've talked about for 11 years, all this stuff that I've had arguments with people over. Two separate boards of people said, you know what? You're exactly right. You're exactly right, and we're going to help lift you. I've been so angry for so long. Every single time someone says to me, you shouldn't paint black and brown people, you shouldn't paint African American people, because those aren't going to sell. And my gallery doesn't sell to black people, and I have heard it over and over again. But now I have at least 24 people involved in 2 different groups who said to me, you are exactly who we want to get behind. You're exactly who we want to lift. It is extremely disorienting. So now I'm trying to figure out how to walk carefully, because I don't just represent me and my bitterness and my bad attitude anymore. I represent these 2 groups. I represent dozens of people. I represent the groups that I'm involved with, whether it's the food pantry or the LGBTQ groups, one of which now, through Johnson Singer, I am officially paired to. The others are just, I want to be there. But also in getting these awards, coming back around to the 4 to 5 murals that I had yanked away from me, because, how dare an artist want to get paid for working outside in the sun, in the weather? Oh, for heaven forfend. I've gotten it back. I was actually asked by one of the people on that board, on that committee, the Overtown Project Committee, to work with them again. I couldn't be any more shocked. I could not be any more shocked. And I want to share this with people. I want to share this with you. We've been doing this for 11 years, and I've been saying, let's hang in there together. And here we are. I don't know when the murals are going to happen, but when I was asked to please work with them again, I said, yes, but we're going to have an intermediary. I'm not going to allow this to derail again. So we're going to have an intermediary. So a woman from the Johnson Singer Foundation is actually going to help keep everybody on track. Because as we know, if I'm given a task, I'm going to do it. But this time I'm going to be compensated, period. I've also heard back from the city about the Highwaymen mural. We still don't have a wall. They're kind of working on it. But that's not dead either. And now today, because of the printouts I was talking about, I can, and a graphic designer I'm working with, I'm going to reapproach Embassy Suites and the Modern and a few other places about other mural work that I've wanted to do. And then we have my solo show coming up at Love Art Repeat Gallery in sometime in April. I don't know when we're doing it, but it's sometime in April. But then to add to the mix, I've been asked to show with kind of a community place in town that I've been holding a grudge against. But I think I'm going to enter some work in that because I have been asked by one of the people on one of the boards to please do it, and I have to do, because they've been nice to me, so I have to just go, okay, I'll do what you asked because you're being nice. But then too, I have, just to stay on top of things, in September and October, I have we're calling it an artist residency. I'm basically paying to be there. But it's in downtown Sarasota at a place called the Arcos Building. I have a glass-enclosed gallery space that I'll be using as an artist residency spot for 2 months. I'll be there probably 6 days a week, maybe 7 for 2 months. See how long I last. I think I'm going to need a lazy boy chair for that. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes. That's what's going on. I am in utter and complete shock. There's a lot of eyes on me right now. And hopefully I'm able to rise to the occasion. It is the most disorienting, shocking, and wonderful feeling to be here. And you know what's nice is people listen to me right now. I had a woman who tried for about 2 seconds to pressure me into doing something, and then she kind of looked around and she realized, she looked at the people that were around me, not physically around me, but like in the same room, and the people that were supporting me, and she went, oh, I could see it. It just flashed over her face. I better stop now. She tried for about 2 seconds to guilt me into doing something that I said I can't do. I just don't have any time right now. I was presented with I was asked to participate in something, and I said yes. That was a month ago, a month ago, and I said, or month and a half ago, and I said yes because I thought it was going to be a group show, and then they switched it to a solo show in a space I had never seen, in a gallery that is in a weird place, and it's only open 2 hours a week, and I'd have to gallery set. I'm like, I can't do that. I can't do that. It just became, it went from, yeah, I'll do this. It'll be, it can help. I might be able to help you guys, to now all of a sudden it's gallery sitting in a, it just went down to amateur level, and I'm not going back down there again. We're moving forward. We're moving up the ladder. So this woman tried to pressure me into, out of the blue, doing a solo show in a kind of a nice, it's a really nice space, but it's in a weird spot, and they're open 2 hours a week, and I have to gallery sit. And how'd they try to sell it to me? You can sell your own artwork and give us 30%. I was like, no, none of this is working out. None of this is adding up. So no, I'm not going to do it. And I watched that woman take the steps she would normally take, and all of a sudden realize, oh, it's not going to work in this instance. I can't tell you what a relief it is to have just even a little bit of power, or a little bit of influence, I guess. All right, so we've been saying it, now it's over 30 minutes. I've been saying it for 11 years. We'll hang in there together. We've hung in there together. I want everyone to feel what this feels like. It is astonishing. And this isn't the end. The next level is getting into museums, which we're working on several different fronts. But the next level is getting exhibits in getting work in museums, getting artist residencies, not the goat farm, feed my goats for a week and you can stay on my farm and we'll call it an artist residency. I've already done that one. I've already done that kind of thing. But the real ones where they give you a stipend and they pay for your materials and they supply a place to live, and it's significant. That's what we're looking for. So we're not going to stop here. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. In Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, not the new one because I don't care, Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder. And I never read the book. I've been obsessed with Willy Wonka since I was a kid. At the end of the movie, Willy Wonka looks at Charlie and says, Charlie, something like, Charlie, do you know what happened to the man who got now I've forgotten it. Sorry, got everything he's ever dreamt of. Or Charlie, now I can't remember it. Charlie, do you know what happened to the man whose wishes all came true? And Charlie says, no. He said, he lived happily ever after. We're not quite there yet. But the actual possibility is there. Just the beginning. All right, that's it. Now at 35 minutes, I'm going to shut this off. All right, Carrie. Hope you're well in Australia. 17 years, and they haven't given. I'm the first person they've given first independent artist they've given an award to. Yeah, this is just the beginning. All right, ciao. Meow, meow, meow.